Hey everyone, it's TV Shores. It is May the 20th, 2020. It is 12:07 a.m. This is not picking up where we left off on the last video. The last video was kind of connecting some things. I know I did speak about over by a period of May 22nd, and that was talking as to something being finished or ending and something else beginning. And I did discuss the something else beginning as being the bringing of the kingdom age. So what is ending? I know I kind of left that hanging as far as not knowing how to explain, but it is the best I can put it at the moment. It is like the ending of an age or the ending of an era, that another age may begin, which is the kingdom age. We're going to get into that a little deeper later on. I do think I've got to just wait on the Lord and let Him show me some things and clear the understandings in my mind and how to put it together to present it. But right now, I know I mentioned in the last video about another confirmation of the month of May, and I wanted to show that to you because I find it encouraging. Last night, let me give a little background on this. Last night, I was trying to do a video last night, and it was just like, for some reason, it just wasn't flowing. It just wasn't coming together, and it was late, and I thought, well, I don't know if it's because I'm so tired or if I am actually needing to wait on the Lord to receive something else, because sometimes that's how He does with me. If I'm to wait on Him for something else before I proceed, then it's just like I just can't get the next one done. So I was a little confused because I didn't think I was waiting on anything to continue with the next video. But I knew I was really tired and my mind was a little foggy. And it seemed like the older I get, when I get tired, my mind gets a little foggy. So I thought, okay, let's just put the studying and the piecing the puzzle together to the side, and let's just seek the Lord on just a personal note rather than a study note, okay? So whenever, and you know, y'all that's watched my channel for very long, you know that I close my eyes and let the Lord guide my hand where to open in the Word. And so that's what I did. And when I opened, I'm just going to show you a picture of where I opened to. This is the scripture that I opened to. Now let me back up so you can see. It was chapter 6 of First Kings, chapter 6. Well, it was chapters 5 and 6. But all this is what grabbed my attention, especially this right here, this subtitle. Now, it wasn't underlined when I opened, but the subtitle jumped up in my face because it says, Solomon begins to build the temple. And the Lord has taught me in some of my studies, let's see if I can pop over there. I don't want to lose that right there. But if you go back and look, you know that He's taught me about second day, second month, and how that connects to Solomon's temple and the building of the temple. So that right there caught my attention. I'm like, okay, Lord, you want me focused on what we've been talking about the temple and what you're fixing to do. Okay, so as I continue to read, okay, first this jumped up in my face, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, but it goes back to what we see right here in 1 Peter, where it talks about how we are lively stones, are built up a spiritual house and holy priesthood, Okay, and that's speaking of us. And so we see, even at the time of Solomon building the temple, of course, this was a physical application. We know 1 Peter to be the spiritual application. But we see it being spoke out here about they brought great stones, costly stones, and huge stones to lay the foundation of the house. Of course, that's speaking spiritually to this house right here, built up a spiritual house, okay? So these stones, these lively stones that built up a spiritual house. So that caught my attention. But what really knocked me off my feet, so to speak, was, if I can get it to come up. Hold on a minute. This right here. As you read it, starting at the beginning of chapter 6, where it says Solomon begins to build the temple, it says, "And it came to pass in the 480th day of, after the children of Israel were come out of the land of Egypt, in the 4th year of Solomon's reign over Israel, in the month of Zif," which is the second month. Remember, the Lord had me do some videos on second month, second day, which is the second month that he began to build the house of the Lord. Okay. And of course, the house of the Lord is in reference to the spiritual house that the Lord is using us to build, which actually comes during the kingdom age that I mentioned before. Okay. So as we look at this, we see a little reference right here by where it says the month of Zif. Now keep in mind, I've really never heard of Zif. Now I do know that I gave reference to L. Lott's video on this video that I did. But what had caught my attention was where it said month of flowers and May. I didn't pay any attention to Zif being written right here or Zif being written right here. My focus was on the month of flowers because of what the Lord had spoken to me back in 2012 had just come rushing to my mind when the blossoms come forth. So even though I had used this on my video, it just had not clicked that she had Zif up on here. And, you know, I think it has to do with, back what I was saying before, about we have to see something for ourselves for us to grasp it or for it to have the meaning or the impact that it should. And that's why I believe I did not see it at this time when I was using her video as a reference for confirmation on the month of May, because the Lord was going to show it to me here as a confirmation. So when I read this, and it's talking about the month Zif, which is the second month, I see this reference. Now, I always look at the references. And so it says A, and I come down here, and what does A say? A says May, and I'm like, okay, Lord, you have took me back to May and took me back to May so many times. You must be saying that this is when you are going to set things in motion. Now, just how that plays out, just what to expect, just what we're going to see, I'm not certain. But I know this. I know the Lord keeps pointing me back to May. And make note of this. Zif in the King James Bible, my Schofield Study Bible, King James, when I did a search, this is the only place that you even find Zif in the entire King James Bible. So you can't tell me that it was a coincidence that I turned to this page while the Lord has been showing me and pointing me to May, and things that are significant to this time and things that fall in this month that we're in right now of May. So it is no coincidence that the Lord took me here, because Zif is not even mentioned in the scripture, in the King James Bible, anywhere else except right here in 1 Kings chapter 6. And that is my new May confirmation that the Lord had given me. Now, when we understand what he spoke here, when the blossoms come forth, meaning when the flowers come forth, and then, of course, what El Lot had on hers, talking about the month of flowers. And for me to have overlooked this entirely, so the Lord could show it to me again and make it have an impact on me, there's just no way these things happen by coincidence, okay? So I do believe we're fixing to see something very significant take place. I believe that the infilling of the first fruits, the called out ones, whatever label that you put on this first group that the Lord is going to infill, I believe their time is now. Now, just exactly what day, I can't say with certainty, because the calendars all vary so much. The Lord teaches me on this calendar. And I think a lot of it has to do with, because it is easier for me to learn with this, our regular calendar that we use, overlaid with the Jewish calendar. So I just wanted to share with you about Zif. And there's another thing or two I wanted to mention about Zif. The Lord had me to look Zif up, month of Zif. I simply did. What is the month of Zif as a search? It says in the Bible, the month of Iyar, of course that's where we are, and it is in the month of May, is called the month of Zif, which means radiant. This month is a vital point in the year that represents a time of connection, the month of healing, and the time that mysteries are revealed. This month is very pivotal every year because it connects Passover to Pentecost. Okay, then I pulled this up, and it says Zif, brightness, splendor, the flower month. What stood out to me is this about brightness. I'll explain that here in just a minute. Of course, brightness, when you look it up in the Strongs, you see the same thing. It's brightness. And the month of flowers. So there was another subscriber. I can't remember their name at the moment, but they had done a search on, you know how I was using the 2015 and the 2020, the 2015 and the 2020 calendar, and they sent me this information. And it's just another confirmation. 2015 means appearing, okay? Brightness, appearing, appearance. It means a manifestation, appearing and brightness. Especially the advent of Christ, past or future. So this is talking about a manifestation. 2015 is talking about a manifestation and appearing of brightness. Okay? That connects to Zif and what Zif means. And it's in 2015, the calendar. The number is coming from the calendar the Lord had me using. So we can see that that is signifying something important in connection with the Lord. Okay, in 2020, when we look 2020 up in the Strongs, here we go. Begin to dawn, to grow light, to dawn, to begin to grow light, beginning to dawn. And that takes me right back to where, I'm going to cry, bear with me, I'm so sorry. But it takes me right back I don't even know where to look right now. To where the Lord had spoke to me. It is dawn. It is dawn. Let me look just a moment. He spoke that to me in November.
But what
What
you
you
see in
see in
front
front? November of last year, just as we were coming upon the first of the year. And for 2020 to mean begin to dawn. And I just got through talking about how it connects to the day of the Lord and the coming of the kingdom. It is no coincidence. And I just wanted to share all this with you. I love y'all. Bye bye.